Hey guys, welcome back. This is day 18 of my 31-day challenge. I'm dropping a video every single day, so I appreciate every single one of you who are supporting me in this challenge and liking and commenting on every video. And if you're not yet subscribed, please do so. Today I want to talk to you about suffering. Yeah, suffering. We don't want to talk about it. We just want to ignore it. We want to have it in the back and even pretend. When we're at church, we don't even want people to know our problems. We don't even want people to know what we're dealing with. We put on a facade and we just want to be our church self. But the reality is we need, as human beings, to be real. We need to talk about what we're struggling with all the time. Where I want to go with this is when you look at people overseas and you look at that they go overseas and they're in the midst of no family around them, they're in the midst of trouble, there might be even in danger, they're facing persecution and all these types of things. When you look at them, it's actually a matter of fact that suffering is a blessing to them. How does that make sense? Because the concept they have is a little bit different than the concept we have in America. In fact, when I've gone all over the world, I've traveled a little bit, and I've seen old, almost like Roman arenas that you'd see in like Sparta, these huge Colosseum type things. And what would happen is they would throw people in there who had done some sort of wrong, and they would go and battle a lion and try to survive, but the lion would end up mauling them and killing them, and people would watch this happen. And this would happen to missionaries because sharing your faith in that culture just wasn't okay. And so, that was a persecution they faced. They got thrown into this arena where a lion would just maul them and kill them in front of a crowd. And it was entertaining to them. Isn't that crazy, the amount of suffering and persecution that brings? And yet, their perspective on that, in that area, that exact circumstances, the facing of death that they might have, they said it was a blessing. Why? Because they are dependent on the Lord. They know they need the Lord for protection. They know they need the Lord to be in their active daily lives because of the just depression, the anxiety, the things they have to deal with. They have such a need for the Lord that suffering is a blessing to them because they know the danger of complacency. And that's where we find ourselves in America. We're not in a place of persecution. We're not in a place of suffering. And yet, we look at suffering as a bad thing, and yet, in their perspective, it's a good thing. Why? So I urge you guys to really look at and think about even verses that say, James 1, where it says, in all kinds of suffering, count it all joy. Count it joy because it's going to bring you closer to God. Your sufferings are not meant to discourage you, to bring you down, to beat you down to flat, because the Lord has his hand over it all, and he's the one that protects you. He's got the provision, and he's the one that's going to sustain you through it. Your sufferings can either be, by your decision, a blessing to you or cause you to fall away from God. Let's choose for it to be a blessing, because it is our choice to choose if it's a blessing. Because if we draw closer to God because of it, and we are able to align ourselves with God's will better because of it, it absolutely is a blessing. See you guys tomorrow for day 19 of my 31-day challenge.